won't believe this. I did a 28-minute recording that I wasn't sure if I was going to post. And I broke down so many things organically that I feel going through now just feels so empty. Only goes to show, like, those who stream for a living and record videos, I can only imagine what they feel like when they've done a recording and it's like a first time impression and the whole thing crashes and it's all lost. So the whole energy of, hey, I don't know how this is going to turn out is so deflated at the moment. And this won't be another 28-minute recording. The recording initially, the previous recording, I should say, was about me using OBS. And it's all my fault because my laptop lost power. I mean, it really doesn't retain a lot of power. The battery is not great. As far as like life is concerned, and it's not like it's bad or anything. It's one of the weaker parts of my MacBook, and I don't always get a warning. My previous MacBook, it would come across the screen like it would flash low 5%, type thing, similar to what your cell phone would do, where it's like, hey, 10% remaining or 5% remaining or whatever other indicator would be. And so it's my fault. The power was extremely low, and even after recording, I didn't pick up on that. I didn't see any warning indicators, and I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I export the video, and the screen went black, and I was like, I can't believe it. And so I quickly plugged it in, and I was just hoping, okay, maybe it'll retain, because like QuickTime Player, once a recording has been done, and even if it hasn't been saved to a particular file or folder, I should say, it retains the recording. And I've been watching, and I'm currently listening to an OBS video on YouTube right now. And because I was like, man, how do I export it? How do I find the file? Did it actually record? I wanted to, and I found out where you have to go to see the recordings, and I thought, oh, hey, it's still there, and lo and behold, it's not. It was just showing, because once OBS is open, it automatically records the screen that you have set up, and I have it set up to record my Cintiq screen. And anyways, so I feel really deflated, because it was such a great raw recording that I wasn't even sure that I was going to post, but I had pretty much persuaded myself that I would post anyway, because it was just so raw. There's all kind of like misspeakings of different things, and now I can't even try to recreate because I don't even remember everything that I talked about. So with that said, I know I briefly went over sketching and moving out dialogue balloons, but see, everything is already corrected, so it just feels what can I do? I don't know. But anyway, so here are some balloons, and initially I didn't have all these things sketched out, but what I went on, and I don't want to cheapen the experience. So you can see my sketch layer is already, the opacity has been reduced, because I was even demonstrating inking, and I actually uncovered a situation where my inking, the aliasing on my inking was very delayed. My strokes of the pen was very delayed, and so doing just small short strokes weren't picking up with my inking. So It is doing somewhat a little better right now, but it wasn't initially. Oops, nope, 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 nope. All right, so I'm gonna go here, and what I'm gonna do. Okay, there we go. Pencils. Let me just darken that opacity a little bit more. And so the dialogue balloons, sometimes I leave these in so that way I'll know, if I need to put this light bar in, I know that's where I'm going to put it and not here, because if I put it there, then that's not going to show. So I need to put it outside the dialogue balloons. So sometimes I'll leave the dialogue balloons present so that way if there's a particular element that I want in the finished product line work, I know where to put it. And sketches like this, where I know that Heather's head is going to block all of this out, I still put it there so that way it just allows me to keep a consistent layout of the different elements that I have within that scene. And I can continue and now I'm not gonna like go out and just draw and continue to just add different elements that will not be present at all. So if I was to do something like this, I mean, it's great exercise for me, but in the long run, I am just, wasting. I don't want to say wasting, but I'm burning time that I don't need to burn. So if I do all of this and I know that none of this is going to show, maybe just that one little line right there, I don't need to do all of this, or even yet carry it all the way over here behind this wall to, because it's not pertinent to this scene at all in any way. So I will not do that. Unlike in, and I would erase, but like I said, this is on the seam layer, so if I erase that, it's going to erase that as well. So I'm just doing undo. So yeah, so I'll just leave it at that level. Of course, now, just so that I'm not contradicting myself, on the character sketch level, I have included this much right here. And I've done that because it just helps me to maintain visually for myself the right perspective for the subject matter, which is Heather and her positioning, and even with that, when I get to inking, there may be some things that I may change. I'll go to my ink layer, ink 2. So even like here, I know that I feel like this may be a little too high. I know like her motion, she's, she's sort of like crunching downward as she peeks around the corner. And Dusty is leaning backward, as he comes around her around the corner. So his anatomy positioning is a lot more elevated backward, and hers is slightly more downward, and almost from a lowered position. So her head, if I was, let me remove the lines. So her head structure would be more, like this, where it's a lowered position, other than Dusty, where it's somewhat more upper. Maybe not that upper, but upper that way. So her head position is there. So her shoulders will be elevated in relation to her head placement, and his shoulders, of course, will be lowered according to his head placement. And so, but even with that, I still feel that her shirt collar here is a bit too high. So instead of coming all the way down like this, I may, after her drawing her face, I may go here and bring that down lower that way. And this is why I leave the full body sketch in. So now I know, okay, well, I can't now do her shoulders up here like that. And, you know, potentially I could if I wanted to, right? It can still work like if she's shrugging, but she's not like shrugging upward as in saying, I don't know. She's more ducking down low. So if I do that, you know, it'll give a different, you know, this will give a different, those are massive shoulders. This will give a different anatomy expression, you know, and that's more like a, oh, I don't know type thing. And so although I can go up and continue there, although all of this is not going to show, but I can continue up there, it just doesn't look right, because here I'm going to keep that pretty much on that same level. So that wouldn't work, you know. I mean, she won't cover a shoulder that goes like that, you know what I mean? That our anatomy just don't work that way. And I know I'm doing cartoons, and so I try not to get too hung up on anatomy, because sometimes that can, and have in the past, stifle my creative workflow. But I know I don't want that. So what I will do is I'll just come here and decrease that level, and I know that, you know, if I was to continue here, it will still work within the general overall anatomy. See? And so now I can follow this line here, and I know, okay, I'm going to come here, so I'm going to use this color, and this stays pretty much the same. I must say the inking a little bit, it's still delayed. And by delayed I mean it's, if I do a continuous stroke like this, I mean it's lagging a little bit, but that's fine. But when I go like this, doing short strokes, sometimes it's not, and I don't know if that's the OBS that's causing it. It's not reacting the way I want to. Granted, it's not as prevalent or as strong as it was in the previous recording, so I'm not sure why or what reason. I don't know, but yeah. So like I said, this is again still a test recording, because I always record it through QuickTime Player, and I was explaining previously that I do have an Elgato HD recording device that I've been able to use to successfully record my gameplay. And I thought, well, I can use it. I should be able to use it to record my digital work, you know, because when I use it to record my gameplay, I mean, it's crisp. Whatever is on the screen, it's the same resolution. When I use QuickTime Player, although my screen resolutions are higher, the recorded video is much lower, and I have to crank up the editing in Final Cut for that video, you know, do it like 4K or 2K, just to simply get a baseline 40p or 20p quarterly, because viewing it on YouTube, it's further compressed, and so even trying to view it at 360p, it looks very grainy, and you know, and I don't like that, you know. So I figured I'll give a test in OBS and see how it turned out, and then, you know, see how the whole process of editing. But like I said, you know, that's 28 minutes that has been lost. But you know, it's experience, because in that video, the gentleman said, you know, hey, record in this video format, so that way if there is a crash, it actually still retains what has been recorded. And so I went back and changed that setting because I had changed it to MP4, which is the recording default format for QuickTime Player, and that works well for my Final Cut program. It's just but I was like, hey, that's a great tip. So because if I had that as the recording format, I still would have had that previous recording. As you can tell, I'm still hung up on that because it was just so raw and just, and that's what I like. Even like photos, I don't like taking staged photos, particularly if we're out in public. I prefer, hey, someone just take a candid photo. And now unless it's going to be a photo that's going to be used to be sent out, then I totally get that. But if it's just just everyday life, I prefer just candid photos taken and not posing for stuff. I mean, I'm not a big photo taker to begin with, so yeah. So just having that as such a natural recording, I just feel taken aback somewhat. But anyway, this is at the 16, is that right? 16-minute mark. So yeah, and I went, and I'm trying to recall what I talked about, but it's so disjointed now. And perhaps I'll talk about that in a more constructed video. And because it was somewhat all over the place, but it still flowed organically, if that makes any sense. So, but anyway, thanks so much again to my patrons, Naomi and Tom, and Alan and Lee. Thank you for your continued support, and I just hope that I'll get more patrons as well. I try, just spreading the word through my different social media platforms, and I'm just going to try some other creative ways of just getting more eyes to the page and hopefully more patrons as well. So I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year's celebration. I don't know when I'm going to post this. This is the 29th of December 2023. So I'm not sure when or what, but it'll just be for my patrons on my Patreon page. So hopefully this made some sense, and I'm hoping that the quality is greatly improved, because if it is, I will just use OBS instead of QuickTime Player, unless like OBS is down when I want to do a digital recording. And then I'll just use QuickTime Player as a backup. And so I just want the quality of what I see is, at least the same quality that you guys see when I do a recording. And so until next time, grace and peace.